Hi, welcome to iHead Radio. I'm Ken.
I'm John.
And this video we are going to take a look at the brand new Galactic Republic Starter box. So let's go take a look at the ships and the cards and pretty much get right into it. Alright, here we have the Galactic Republic Fleet Starter. Includes the 2 Counselor ships and the Acclamator. Let's open this box up and see what's inside. Alright, here's everything that comes in the box. We have our ship bases for the 2 Counselor ships and the Acclamator, and no one really cares about those. We also have our dial and our maneuver tool, which is great. We can get some new maneuvering tools, but no one cares about those either. John is going to get some new dice to play with, but these are mine. So let's see how well they roll. We'll maybe burn the other ones out. We've got the whole stack of cards. We will be taking a look at those in a little bit. But we've got the new ships. They probably really need a wash. We're going to give you some closer views of these in just a minute. I'll just give you some quick previews of what we see here. We also have our fighters and their pegs and whatnot. You get the Learn to Play. All of the big rule sets are going to be in the new 1.5 rules, which were just posted online the other day. And then we've got our cardboard. Let me open up our cardboard and we will take a look. So let's take a look at what we have for cardboard. So we have, this would be the, well, actually all the ship cards here, our normal assortment of tokens, round tokens, objective tokens, initiative, etc., along with our squadron tokens. There's the chaff and the focus. So focus is going to be blue and chaff is going to be red. This entire package was done really well. It was kind of nice in terms of how it was packed up. Victory point tokens, our obstacles, all the pass tokens are in here as well, and the extra defense tokens required to play the game. We're going to get some new range rulers and all the speed and shield dials along with the command dials. Alright, we're going to spread open this stack of cards in just a second. Let's take a look at those. Alright, here's our card spread. We've got all the normal things you're going to get in a core box. We have our play guides, the reminder cards, all of the new, well, actually the original set of objective cards, but errata is included in those. We have all of the updated ship cards for the new Acclamator and the Counselor class, a whole slew of upgrade cards, and all of them are on the larger side. Squadrons, and this I found interesting because I didn't realize this was going to happen, but all the damage deck is now in the larger size as well. So there's all of the cards, and we're going to go through these in a little bit more detail now. Alright, so here we are looking at the contents of the Galactic Republic Fleet Starter set. And let's take a look right at the ship cards. As you can see, we've got the ship sitting here on the right, and we got the cards up on the left. Acclamator 1. This is a beautiful looking ship.
Yes, it is.
And we've got some interesting things here with the Acclamator. So 7 hull. We've got, is that double black dice?
Double black flak.
That's cool for anti-squadron. And I'm noticing a salvo token on a lot of these as well. Good configuration with the black and the red. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Victory, but a little bit faster.
Yes, but just as not maneuverable.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that. If you're moving at speed, this thing is not turning. I mean, it's a slow moving thing.
Yes. So let's now take a look at the Acclamator 2. And you can see that it has more dice. Mm-hmm. It adds a blue dice into its front arc, and one of the black dice gets changed out for a blue dice. Mm-hmm. And so while that's an upgrade for range, I don't necessarily think that it's an upgrade overall, because before you can now use Ordnance Experts and you can reroll both those dice, and now you'll need to do something else to possibly reroll those dice. Side by side, they are very similar. They both have the exact same command, squadron, and engineering values. And if you look at the upgrade bar, the Acclimator 1 has 2
Offensive retrofit
retrofits,
slots. Yeah.
and the Acclimator 2 has a defensive retrofit slot.
It's also worth noting point cost, since we didn't talk about it. The Acclimator 1 is a 66-point ship, and the Acclimator 2 is a 71-point ship.
So the cost difference isn't very much, so it's really just pick your flavor.
Right.
I see the Acclimator 1 as a heavier fighter pusher.
Okay, yeah, because of the offensive retrofits, yeah.
And the Acclimator 2 is more of a combat ship. Mm-hmm. So take your pick of what you want to build and then build around that.
That sounds about right. So let's take a look at the consular ships.
This is a peaceful mission. So the first thing that jumps out at me about the armed cruiser is the fact that it has 2 blue flak dice. There's only one ship that belongs to the Galactic Republic that's released, which is the second version of this, which is the Charger version instead of the armed one, that doesn't have double flak. So these ships are going to be very powerful at attacking squadrons. Mm-hmm. It looks very similar to what a Corvette looks like.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except for
Not
the
as
fact
maneuverable.
that it's not as maneuverable. It has a contain instead of a second evade.
I noticed that, and that might be kind of a good thing, though, because usually you're trying to avoid that final face-up crit that, in our case, is always structural damage.
Yes, it is. Your case. In your case, Ken. So what's the cost of these ships?
So we're looking at, for the armed cruiser, this is a 37-point ship, and the Charger C-70 is a 45-point ship. So there's actually a decent difference between them, whereas I think the CR-90s was about a 4-point difference between them. This is about a 7-point difference.
So even though the Charger is said that it's a Charger compared to armed, if you double arc with the Charger, all your arcs are throwing two
red dice.
2 red dice, which is pretty powerful.
It really is. Yeah, well, your
Red dice don't like me.
Yeah, red dice don't like you at all.
So double arcing with this ship, I could combine do probably 0 damage.
Yes, and me, on the other hand, will probably do about 8.
Exactly.
And this is why I'm picking the Republic.
Moving on to the squadrons that come with this. The starter box only has one type of squadron, which is very reminiscent of how the original Armada starter came. It came with X-Wings and TIE Fighters. This, we get the V-19 Torrent Squadron. It costs 12 points and very much reminds me of a hybrid between an X-Wing and a TIE Fighter.
Yeah, because you've got the Swarm, the 3 attack dice, you've got Escort, but yeah, a little bit less expensive.
Yes, what I'm excited for with these, though, black anti-ship dice. I love black anti-ship dice. It is very reliable in doing damage. I'm not a fan of red dice being in anti-squadron, but with the Swarm ability, hopefully you can get some use out of it. And it's Escort, so...
Escort's always a good thing. Protect some of your other squadrons.
Exactly. So it comes with 1 ace.
And that's Axe. So his big ability here, before another friendly squadron at distance 1 suffers damage during an attack, you can spend 1 defense token to reduce the total damage by 1. That's kind of nice. You're able to kind of reduce your damage income. And these are friendly squadrons. This is not... It's a little bit like Biggs in a way, but you're not moving it to someone else. You're just getting rid of it at the cost of a defense token.
So speaking of defense tokens, this is the first squadron that we see that has an evade. And that is due to the fact that evades have changed. So before, evades canceled a dice at long range, re-rolled a dice at medium range, and then did nothing at close range. And now they will cancel a dice at long range and re-roll a dice for medium and close range.
And distance 1.
And distance 1, specifically for anti-squadrons.
Right.
So with that, that's a very interesting. So he can just be at long range, and we've been seeing recently way more red flak dice.
Yes, we have.
So he can just straight out cancel that dice.
So now we're going to jump into the upgrades. We're going to start with the commanders, and we have Bail and Obi-Wan. And right off the bat, we have some of the new iconography and symbology on the cards. We see that specifically with Bail, where you've got your the setup cost or what you get to set up on the cards. In this case, we'll read the card. So, when a friendly ship reveals a command, you may discard up to 1 token of each type from this card. For each token you discard, that ship gains 1 additional command dial matching that token's type. So Bail will start the game with a combination of 5 navigation and engineering command tokens. And you'll be able to essentially utilize those to get some commands or command dials to some of your friendly ships.
Yes. So you could have 1 super turn of doing a concentrate fire or a squadron and discarding a nav and engineering from this and get 3 command dials all at the same time. I think he's very useful. I think he would be kind of like almost like a Thrawn, but just with these 2. And
right.
At the time you get to decide if you want to use it instead of Thrawn, which is I have to declare before the turn even begins.
This also will only impact 1 friendly ship at a time, so you can't spend
A navigate and give it to everyone.
to everyone. Right, you're giving it to just the 1 ship.
Unless you spend all of your navigates and give all of your ships navigates.
Right, I mean, I guess you could do that.
But you can choose when the ship activates if you need it or not.
Correct.
So moving on to our second commander, costed the same as Bail at 28 points, is Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Obi-Wan allows you, while a friendly ship is defending, when it spends a readied defense redirect token, it may reduce the total damage by 1 before it suffers damage. So this card is very much like the Expert Shield
The expert shield text, yeah.
but it has to be readied. So technically, the ships that are in this set could only use it once per turn.
Right.
Because they only have 1 redirect token. Down the line, I know they've already announced that there's going to be a Venator.
Mm-hmm.
If that has 2, you could theoretically do this 2 times.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
If it has, let's just pretend it has the same suite as a Star Destroyer.
Sure.
If it has the same suite as a Star Destroyer, you can do it 2 times. And it will be in conjunction if you decide to put an Expert Shield Tech on it. Because it's the cost and it's just triggering everything. So, I don't know if he's good yet. I think Bail, for me personally, will be my default. And then maybe later on when we get more ships, Obi-Wan, we'll see more use.
I think you might be right, but we'll see. Right off the bat, I think Bail, I agree, is going to be the bigger commander. So now we're going to move into some of the officers. First one is Clone Captain Zach. So we're seeing the non-recur icon on the side, so you have to pay your concentrate fire ready cost for it. And he states, while attacking from your side or rear hull zones, you can exhaust this card to add 1 die to your attack pool of a color already in your attack pool. You cannot add dice to a salvo attack, but you can spend tokens from this card to ready it. You will start with 1 concentrate fire token on the card, so it's almost a 1 free use, but beyond that, then you're going to start having to plot your concentrate fire commands.
Yes. So that's a decent ability if someone gets behind you or you're using a small ship that you're going to be flying into someone and then side shooting and then running away. He costs 5 points, which is a little bit pricey, so we'll have to see how he gets used. The next one I think we'll see a lot of use is the Clone Navigation Officer. It also has all the new iconography. Both these cards are kind of busy. This one starts the game with a nav token on it. And then its text is, when you reveal a concentrate fire, a navigate, or a squadron command, you may exhaust this card to choose a friendly ship at distance 1 to 5. That ship may gain 1 command token matching your command. You can spend tokens from this card to ready it. So it has the non-recurring ready cost of 1 token. That's the universal symbol on it. So basically, he can comms net
Yeah.
a card from a non-Comsnet ship to a different ship. I really like that ability.
The only thing he can't do is push the engineering commands.
But
Everything else.
But he's a navigator.
That's true.
So, yeah, I like the card. I think between these two cards, I would put Clone Navigator Officer on before I would put...
Zach?
Yes. Now, why I think I would use him more is this card.
Clone Gunners?
Clone Gunners. It's clone only, so now ships have key phrases on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
Stuff like the Consular class says clone on it. I believe the... Let's take a quick look. We've got the Acclamator 2 does, and does the Acclamator 1. But that's interesting. The armed cruiser does
not have it. So all the other ships do. So Clone Gunner says concentrate fire. You may discard one concentrate token assigned to another ship at distance 1 to 5 of the defender, which is interesting. It's of the defender, not of you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, add 1 blue die set to an accuracy icon to your attack pool, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So you could use then the Clone Navigation Officer to hand out Concentrate Fire. So let's say you have a Clone Navigation Officer on your ship.
Right.
And you have this card.
Yep.
So you do a Concentrate Fire, and you give one of your friendly ships a Concentrate Fire, and then you're going to discard it off that friendly ship to add into your attack
an accuracy.
In addition to the fact that you're using it as a Concentrate Fire, and you can then add in. So let's say you don't have access to blue dice.
Right.
And you want to get access to blue dice. Now that that die is in your die pool, you can add it. So I think that could be a fun combo wombo.
So hyperspace rings, we're going to go into some of the offensive retrofits. States, before deploying fleets, you may choose a number of friendly non-rogue squadrons up to your squadron value. And those squadrons will gain Scout.
So what is Scout? So Scout, during deployment, you do not have to place as normal, which is normally distance 1 to 2 of a friendly ship, but you can be placed outside of your deployment zone, anywhere on the board, or not inside their deployment zone, but must be placed beyond distance 1 to 5 of enemy ships or squadrons. So you can use this as an area denial tool.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're awesome, if you choose, let's say, if you knew where someone's going to deploy, you could deploy your fighters out in front so then they can move into you. So I think this will be a fun card to use.
So now we move on to Reactive Gunnery. It's a defensive retrofit, costs 4 points, has the recur icon on it. While defending, you may exhaust this card and spend a ready defense token to resolve the salvo defense effect. That's kind of cool. You don't get the standard tokens effect, and you cannot resolve the salvo defense effect more than once per attack. So you can't, double and salvo anyone, John. But this is kind of neat because it brings salvo back into the game. And I know with the ability to shoot when it's not your turn is kind of powerful. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think you'll see this on the MC80 that has the double retrofit, defense retrofit. I think depending on how things go with the new ECM, you might see this on ISD to spend it and get the salvo from your contain token.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think this would be very good on an MC30.
Yeah, I was actually thinking an MC30 right off the bat, just because you've got tokens you don't use all the time. Although Evade, the change in the rulebook they showed, that's going to change even the MC30s and the Raiders as well.
Yes, it is. So moving on to a Turbo Laser card. This card you can see on the bottom, it's only for the Galactic Republic and Separatists. I'm just going to keep calling them clones. It is a swivel mount batteries. It is a modification. It costs 8 points. It has a lot of text. So let's read through this. When you reveal a command, you may exhaust this card to choose one of your hull zones and mark it with a focus token, which looks like chaff token.
The chaff token, but it's blue.
Mark that hull zone. While attacking a ship from that hull zone, add 1 die from any color from an adjacent hull zone's armament to your attack pool. While attacking from adjacent hull zones, remove 1 die from your attack pool. When you ready this card, remove that focus token, and then it has the non-recurring cost of a concentrate fire. So the card will not ready unless you want it to. Mm-hmm. So you can just leave it there for the rest of the game.
You could, but it's potentially, depending on how you want to pull one of your tokens, you're essentially removing one die from one side to another, which is kind of cool in a way.
Yes. Also remember that it's while attacking, and you get to add a dice while attacking a ship, but the penalty is while attacking, and that will reduce your anti-squadron by 1 dice.
Right. So we're looking assault concussion missiles. This is an old card from previous sets, but a couple changes, 5 points, and it's being exhaust. We talk about this more in the upgrade card collection video.
Yep. So another new card is the fleet support. I always forget what this one's
We've had
called.
fleet support before, but yeah, the new card is munitions resupply.
Yes, and it is a busy card, so we'll go into it. It costs 3 points. You start the game with 5 concentrate fire tokens on it. And then the card reads, after you reveal a command dial step, you may exhaust this card and discard any number of concentrate fire tokens from it being the card, to choose that many friendly ships at distance 1 to 5. Assign each chosen ship a concentrate fire token. And then it has a non-recurring cost of a concentrated fire, an engineering, or a nav, pretty much anything but squadron, to refresh it. So, theoretically, you can use this card to pass out 5 concentrate fire tokens all at once, or you can pass out 2, still have 3 in your card, refresh it, then pass out 3, and then done. So it is an alternative to CommsNet.
Yeah, pretty much.
Specifically for concentrate fire.
For concentrate fire, though. Yeah, you're passing those tokens around. I think that's a cool card. It works along with the next card we're talking about, part supply. So with part supply, again, you start with 5 engineering tokens on it. After your reveal command dial step, you may exhaust this card and discard any number of engineering tokens from it to choose that many friendly ships at distance 1 to 5. And then you'll assign each chosen ship an engineering token. Same kind of thing with the non-recur refresh ready token. And then the cost is anything but the concentrate fire.
Then it comes with extra copies of Auxiliary Shield Team, which are cards that we have seen. And now let's get into some titles.
Yes.
So the first title for the Acclamator is Implacable. It costs 4 points, and it reads, before a friendly ship or squadron at distance 1 to 2 suffers damage from an attack, you may exhaust this card and spend up to 2 shields from your front hull zone to reduce the total damage by that amount. I think this will be very useful with like an OB-1 fleet. You can really reduce damage very quickly. Use an evade, cancel a dice, use OB-1, reduce a damage,
Right,
and then
damage.
cancel 2, so you've just reduced the damage by 4.
Right. This is great for a ship that's sitting kind of behind a little bit, not being attacked, and you can burn some of your shields to kind of help out. So the next title that we have for the Acclamators is the Navuta B. And you need to be using a squadron command, but each non-unique squadron that you activate gains Swarm until the end of its activation. And then each squadron with Swarm that you activate may re-roll 1 die while attacking a ship. That's actually kind of neat. But I was kind of thinking about this. If we're utilizing Swarm, so if you activate a non-unique squadron, give it Swarm, that should work with, is a reserve hangar deck that says if you have a Swarm ship, you get it back?
Yes, so if you dived from counter, I guess, you could theoretically get it back.
Right.
Because it's until the end of its
Activation. So there's some interesting little tricks you could use. They're very specialized, but I was thinking about that when looking at this card.
Yeah, and if you read it because of that period, so you give all the ships that you or squadrons that you activate Swarm, and then all the squadrons that you activate, which is a pause, and then the rest of it, each squadron that you activate that has Swarm, which is every squadron that you have now activated, gets to reroll 1 of its dice.
Right.
So it's a give them Swarm and then allow them to reroll 1 of its dice.
Final 2, John.
So we have the Radiant 7. It is, you gain the Fleet support icon in your upgrade bar. You cannot equip turbolasers or ordnance upgrades, and this is for
The Counselor class.
the Counselor class. I'm going to keep calling it the Red Corvette or the Clone Corvette. But it costs 1 point, and then it allows you to take fleet support upgrades, which I think is very useful.
All right, so the other one is Swift Return. This is 3 points during your determined course step. If you are at distance 1 to 2 of an obstacle, you may change your speed by 1 or increase 1 yaw value by 1. So it's kind of neat. It's like using the gravity pull on an asteroid to slingshot around it, kind of make it a little bit more maneuverable or faster. It's kind of a nifty little thing and kind of puts this consular ship, you want to fly it by asteroids, debris fields, and things like that.
Yeah, it could very much so change how you deploy it depending on how the game board is set up.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there is all the cards, and you got some good views of the ships and squadrons that came with this pack. I'm excited to really get them out on the table and really try some of these upgrade cards with these ships. A little bit a complication with some of them in terms of how wordy they are.
Yes,
but I think
token stacking.
Yeah, and token stacking. But I think overall it's going to be a good change to the game and actually work well.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how these new factions play against each other and also against the Empire and the Rebellion as well.
That'll be fun to play against too.
Yeah. So in our first few games, I believe Ken's going to be taking on the role of the Galactic Republic, and I'm going to take the Separatists. So I'm interested to see how Ken can utilize these new cards and new upgrades in combination with these ships. Being someone that flies a lot of Squadron, the fact that they have so much heavy flak power kind of worries me.
I think it'll be good for me, kind of even the scales up a little bit, maybe. But what actually I find interesting is the way the fleets look to be able to be designed kind of suits more my playstyle to an extent. So I'm very, very excited to get these to the table and try them out. So stay tuned for an upcoming battle report.
Okay. You'll find all of our social media below. Comment what you think of the ships. Come talk to us. And thank you for watching this video. I'm John.
And I'm Ken.
You've been watching Ion Radio.